to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. Before we get started on a roll call, we did have a longtime CTAC member from Chesterfield County who recently passed away, Mr. Herb Richwine. I'd like to turn it over to Dr. Miller to say a few words.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Herb Richwine served on the CTAC committee since 1988. So we're talking, pushing 40 years. He was an individual with an incredible life of service. He served as a principal for one of our schools. He was someone who was just active in the community, someone who Kevin Carroll and him used to talk often with each other, especially after his life passed. And he would just pick up the phone, give Kevin a call, and just talk about service, talk about being active in the community, if it was about the schools or if it was about transportation. He truly served our community honorably. And from what I've heard over and over again, he was just a super nicest guy. It was someone you just would love to hang out with. And so what I was gonna ask all of you, if we could just take a moment and send some love to those who loved him, and appreciation for his life and appreciation for what he gave to our community. That would be a way to truly honor him, and he had an easy transition to whatever was next. So if you'll join me. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Dr. Miller. Ms. Cruz, if you'll take roll call and certify we have a quorum, please.
Town of Ashland, Ms. Barnhart. Present. Mr. Malloy. Charles City County, Mr. Patterson. Mr. Adkins.
Present.
Chesterfield County, Mr. Carroll.
Petersburg.
Ms. Schneider.
Present online.
Dr. Miller.
Here.
Mr. Hilton.
Here.
Goochland County, Mr. Lyle.
Present.
Mr. Vaughters. Hanover County, Mr. Davis. Ms. Pritchard. Mr. Hudson. Henrico County, Reverend Cooper. Chair Rogish.
Here.
And you're carrying Reverend Cooper's votes.
Yes, ma'am.
New Kent County, Mr. Moyer.
Here.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Stewart. Powhatan County, Mr. Kinney. Ms. Morissette. Mr. McClung. Mr. Powers. City of Richmond, Mr. Breton.
Present.
Dr. Newbill.
Here.
Okay. Capital Region Airport Commission, Mr. Rutledge. GRTC, Ms. Torres. RMTA, Ms. Dean.
Present.
And Secretary of Transportation, Mr. Totten.
Here.
CTAC, Mr. Dixon. Mr. Walton. Department of Aviation, Mr. Smiley.
Here.
DRPT, Mr. Hudson.
Here.
Ms. Dubinsky. FTA, Mr. Koenig. Federal Highway Administration, Mr. Ofori. Mr. Rucker.
Present.
Ride Finders, Ms. Ruffin. Here. And Mr. O'Keefe. Okay, so we should have a fiscal quorum of 14 votes as long as you're carrying 4 and Andrew Breton can still have his 2 votes. And then Dr. Miller and Laquan Hilton, if they both carry 2, I think should be safe to have a physical quorum vote, and then we can transition votes to do after that.
We can't transition them.
We can't.
So
transition
I
them.
think, do we still, I counted 15. Can we still
Do we-
have Dr. Miller and Dr. Hilton each have one?
Sure, as long as we have the 14.
Yeah, I counted
Okay.
15 with Mr. Rokish carrying 4. Dr. Miller and Dr. Hilton each carrying 1.
Okay, perfect.
And Mr. Breeden carrying his 2.
Correct. Okay, great. Then we have enough votes for fiscal, we can certify people online.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Ms. Chris, appreciate that. I do have a request. I received a request from 4 individuals to participate online. Dr. Dr. Newbill, Mr. Carroll, Mr. Moyer, and Ms. Schneider. Do I have a motion to approve that, board?
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Lyles, seconded by Dr. Miller. All in favor? Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. Welcome to the meeting, folks.
So
Thank
with
you.
that, I'll just.
Thank you.
Just an abundance of clarity. Ms. Schneider normally has 2 votes, but in order to achieve that quorum, the physical quorum, the allocation had one of those votes carried by Dr. Miller for the rest of the meeting. So each Chesterfield attendee has 1 vote today.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Higher math, thank you very much for that. Board, are there any considerations for amendments to the agenda? Seeing none, agenda approved. This is a public meeting. Is there anyone from the public, either online or in person, that wishes to address the board? Seeing none, close public comment period. Moving to the consent agenda to approve the meeting minutes and the tip amendment. These are in your packet. We do need a motion for that. February 5th, meeting minutes
No move, Byron.
and the tip amendment.
No move.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Atkins, seconded by Ms. Barnhart. All in favor?
Aye.
Those,
I'll go ahead and say, because I wasn't here.
and Dr. Miller is abstaining on the vote. Okay, thank you all. Okay, so we're gonna turn it over to Ms. Schickel for the regional funding, B1 in your packet.
Thank you. I'm actually gonna ask Will Heller to come to the podium for that.
Thank you so much. 1 second, I'll get all this set up here. All right, so thank you so much and good morning, everybody. Today I'm bringing 2 tip amendments to the policy board. So the projects being presented today are within the authorized project phase of our transportation planning process. Projects that have made it to this phase are those that have already been funded and have been created to identify an issue or solution and to prioritize those appropriate solutions. These amendments are being requested both by VDOT, and the amendments will add 2 new projects to the tip: the Route 288 southbound hard shoulder running lane project and the Port of Virginia Interchange Commerce Road Streetscape project. So starting with the Route 288 southbound hard shoulder running lane project, this project is intended to help reduce congestion during peak afternoon hours, and it involves reconstructing the southbound shoulder between the on-ramp at West Creek Parkway and the off-ramp at Route 711. In addition to the reconstructed shoulder, the project also involves intelligent transportation system improvements, installing gantries with explanatory signage, and constructing emergency pull-offs for disabled vehicles while the HSR is in use. So looking at the tip block provided by VDOT, we can see that this project is adding the preliminary engineering phase in FY26 and adding the right-of-way phase in FY27. The total project cost is just shy of $77 million. So the last project that I have for you all today is the Port of Virginia Interchange Commerce Road Streetscape project. This project involves multiple improvements along a 0.4 mile stretch of Commerce Road between Fells Access Road and Walmsley Boulevard I-95, and at the Commerce Road, Walmsley Boulevard, I-95 interchange. So in addition to the construction of a 5-foot wide sidewalk with 4-foot buffers, improvements planned between Bell's Access Road and Walmsley Boulevard include new turning lanes, pedestrian and transit access improvements, and crossing accommodations at 2 existing intersections and 3 transit stops. The improvements planned for the Commerce Road and Walmsley Boulevard I-95 interchange include pedestrian access improvements and crossing accommodations, improved lane configurations, as well as a multi-lane roundabout. And in addition to these changes, the project also provides access management improvements by consolidating commercial entrances, removing 2 and relocating 1 further away from the Commerce Road and Walmsley Boulevard intersection. So this project's tip block highlights the preliminary engineering phase starting in FY 26 with right-of-way starting in FY 27. And the total cost of this project will be just a little over $25.5 million. So today we are asking the policy board to accept the technical advisory committee's recommendation and approve VDOT's proposed tip amendment. The draft resolution of approval is included in your packets on page 18. And if anyone has any questions, I'd be happy to take them. Thank you so much.
Thank you for the presentation. Are there any questions from the group on either of these items? The one item with the 2 projects? Okay, seeing none. I do need a motion to approve this tip amendment requested by VDOT.
Mr. Chairman, I so move.
Moved by Mr. Lyle,
Second.
seconded by Ms. Barnhart. All in favor?
Aye.
Those ayes have it. Thank you.
Thank you.
To B2, the transportation, the tip project list on page 19 of your packet. And who is presenting that?
Andy Wagenhauser.
Hello, Ms. Wagenhauser. Wagenhauser, right?
Wagenhauser.
Wagenhauser.
It's all good. It's a long last name.
Thank you.
Sorry, I just want to make sure everyone can see my screen. Hello and thank you. Good morning, policy board. My name is Carrie Wagenhauser and I'm here to talk to you about the project list for FY 27, FY 2030 TIP. The TIP is the final review before the project agreements are executed and projects are authorized to begin implementation. These projects have already been reviewed by TAC, VDOT, and DRPG. The Transportation Improvement Program is a federally required regional list of priority transportation projects. It covers highway, transit, bike ped, rail, airport access, and freight projects, essentially all federally funded or regionally significant investments. The TIP acts as an obligation document. FHWA and FTA commit to reimbursing the state for eligible project costs once the phase is authorized. Each project must clearly outline its description, total cost, federal funding amounts, and project administrator. All Virginia MPO TIPs are incorporated into the statewide TIP, the STIP. Any TIP updates must be entered into the STIP before submission to FHWA or FTA for review and acceptance. Once these projects are approved, the draft TIP will then turn into a finalized version of the TIP and the associated draft air quality conformity determination report. The TIP is similar to the CIP and it shows what we will spend money on every few years. We have to update it and we do have an overlap of 1 year. These projects included on the list are already selected and funded and are significant enough to meet individual merit listing. The project list can be found in your agenda packet. Project lists show which projects are eligible and included in the TIP. These project lists are reviewed by the localities, state agencies, and Plan RDA staff to ensure accuracy and readiness. Collectively, these project lists are designed to support and advance the region's future and transportation needs and goals. Similarly, projects may not be individually listed in the TIP. Pots of funds are usually set aside for similar project types, which allow more flexibility in implementation. These are called project groupings and are included in the TIP based on eligible projects in the SIP. Air quality conformity makes sure our transportation projects and plans do not create new air quality problems, make existing problems worse, or delay meeting federal air federal air quality standards as required by the Clean Air Act and the EPA's conformity rules. The Tri-Cities and Richmond region were previously designated as non-attainment under the 1997 8-hour ozone standard, so conformity requirements still apply to our planning documents. Before we can approve the TIP or the long-range transportation plan, all regionally significant projects must go through this conformity review to ensure that they align with the state implementation plan and support continued attainment of air quality standards. The key part of this resolution is to approve the projects on the list and delegate to the TAC that they can open public review for the draft TIP and conformity. These resolutions are also included on page 23 of your agenda packets.
Thank you. Appreciate the presentation. I don't know if we can pull up the list. If you can't, if you in your packet, the QR code is on page, I think 22. If you want to hit the QR code and look at the TIP project list there in front of you. Are there any questions of the board for Ms. Wagenhauser? Seeing none, I do need a motion to approve.
So moved.
So moved by Reverend Cooper from Henrico. Thank you. Thank you.
After half a mile, take the
Second.
exit right,
Thank-
51, Interstate Highway 85 South.
Second.
Towards Durham.
Second by Ms. Schneider from Chesterfield. Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Thank you very much.
Take the exit right, 51.
And we're gonna turn it over to Mr. Bushing for the Smart Scale Round 7, I do believe.
Does Mr. Carroll have his hand up?
Mr. Carroll, do you have a question?
I hope not. I think it might be an accidental push button.
Okay, excellent. Mr. Lyle from Goochland is looking out for you. Miles, Mr. Bushing, go ahead. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. This morning, the next item we have is Smart Scale Round 7 regional candidates. Just as a refresher on the sort of transportation planning process, this is the funding phase of project development. So we've already identified solutions. Now we're going to seek funding to be able to start implementing those projects. And what is Smart Scale? I'm sure many of you have already heard this presentation at your board meetings, but Smart Scale is really the principal funding program for transportation improvements. It's the biggest competitive pot that we have. And it's really one call for projects for two different funding programs. So there's the district grant program, which is only open to local governments, and it's within the Richmond Construction District. So it's basically ensuring that we're getting the projects funded that are of most importance within our region. And then there's the High Priority Projects Program, which is open to local governments and also open to the MPO and transit operators and planning district commissions. And that program is a statewide competition. And so it's really making sure that on top of the regional needs, we're meeting the biggest needs across the entire Commonwealth. The projects are a little bit more limited in the high priority program. There's only certain project types and they have to be on certain corridors, primarily on like interstates and major arterials. And we, as the MPO, are able to submit just for that second program. And so just backing up a little bit, we have up to 12 pre-application slots available and 10 full application slots. So we'd have to winnow it down again in the summer to get to the full applications. We received 16 candidate projects through our call for projects back in December. We've since received 2 additional submissions as part of the TAC process that happened last month. And from that, we've screened it down to a list of appears to be 14 projects that are eligible to be submitted for the high priority program. And the TAC has recommended 10 of those projects to move forward through the RRTPO's application slots. There are 4 additional projects that we'll be asking the board to recommend over to the commission as part of the PDC's slots. And so each of these projects, I mentioned that not all of them appeared to be eligible, went through a screening process. So we screened all the projects against our long-range transportation plan, essentially making sure that if it was supposed to be listed in the plan, it was something we already had. And if it wasn't something that was required to be listed, that it was consistent with the intent of the plan. We reviewed the eligibility criteria, trying to make sure these were projects that looked like they would meet the Smart Scale program requirements. We also looked at a few other details, like how much leverage the locality was able to bring to the table. What did it look like we had all the paperwork in order to meet readiness? And was there a VTrans need, which is basically the statewide need assessment that appeared to be met by the project. Are we actually addressing something to continue to be eligible? And so this is the TAC recommended list. You'll see there were 3 projects requested by the city of Richmond: Walmsley Boulevard Extension, Belvedere Interchange, and the Richmond Layover Facility. I've highlighted that one in red. There's a little bit of a switch that we're requesting at this point. The city was actually able to obtain funding for that request through the CBTA. So we're actually looking to swap that out for a different project from the city's requests. In Henrico, there's I-64 in West Broad, I-95 in Parham, Bryan Park, and I-64 in Gaskins interchange improvements. In Chesterfield, it's I-95 in Willis and 360 at Chippenham. And in Hanover, there's the I-295 and Meadowbridge interchanges. And as I mentioned, we are limited in the project types that we're able to submit. So they are principally limited to capacity type projects, so new BRT routes, new lanes on arterials, interchange improvements. So that's why you're seeing a lot of interchanges listed here. It's kind of the limits of what types of projects we're able to submit for. So in your packet, you have an overview of each project. So it gives a high-level map of where the project's located with some general bullets about what the improvements are included. It also includes the initial staff screening of whether the project was in the plan or consistent with the plan. Is it eligible for the high priority projects, and does it appear to bring any leverage to the application? So that's helping to buy down the cost because this is a benefit cost basis. So to the swap that I was mentioning earlier, as I mentioned, the Richmond Layover Facility, the request that was expected has been funded through the CBTA's process. That was just decided on Friday. So this is a last minute swap that we're bringing to you. But the replacement project is Hull Street Improvements Phase 2, which is a longstanding city project. It's part of a 3-phased plan to create a kind of consistent profile for Hull Street, all the way from essentially the Chippenham interchange all the way into Southside Plaza. So it's a lengthy stretch of Hull Street. And the project is going to be included in an ongoing STAR study. So that's how it's going to be eligible for this process. Just as an overview, this is the outermost section of the project in terms of the phasing. So this is basically from Hay Road all the way out to the interchange. And it's going to include pedestrian crossing enhancements, general streetscape improvements, and shared use path and sidewalks with some signal modernizations. And as I mentioned, we have screened this one. There is leverage being brought to the table. So staff is fully supportive of making this swap to include this project at this time. And so the requested action today is to approve the list of 10 projects that was initially requested by the TAC with this swap for the Richmond Hull Street project. And then the resolution also includes forwarding 4 additional projects to the commission for their consideration as their regional applications. There are 2 different projects on Route 10 in Chesterfield, US 301 in Henrico County improvements, and then a bridge in the Scotts Addition area of the city, Norfolk Street. So those are the 4 projects that are recommended to be advanced to the commission for their consideration. So with that, I'm happy to answer any questions you have at this time.
Thank you, Mr. Bushing. Are there questions from the board on any of these? The details are, again, on the QR code. You can find the 28 slides online detailing each of the projects as well. No questions? Thank you, Mr. Bushing. With that, folks, we need an approval on the projects with the amendment of swapping out the one in Richmond.
Correct.
I do need a motion to approve this.
I move that we
Move
approve it.
Moved by Mr. Brenton from the city, seconded by Mr. Hilton from Chesterfield. All in favor? Opposed? Okay, the motion passes. Thank you. All right, moving on to some administrative responsibilities, and this is the bylaws that have been changed or are proposed to be changed. As you remember, we did the first round in the last meeting, and we're hoping to get the second meeting approved today. So
Yes, so this is back before you for second reading. materials are referenced on page 29 of your packet, again with the QR code to the bylaws document. We've reviewed the bylaws changes several times now. I'm happy to hit some highlights if that's something that anybody would like. Otherwise, the bylaws require for them to be amended, we must achieve a 2/3 affirmative vote. So I think we could do a voice vote, I presume, and then if there's dissension, then we could do a roll call
Yes,
to
ma'am.
confirm the count, but we have confirmed through the attendance that the vote is possible.
Excellent.
Thank you for your help with that.
Do you wanna just take maybe 2
Sure.
minutes and just hit some of the highlights
Yes.
if you would, Ms. Schickel?
Yeah,
And again,
so-
it is in your, if you can't find it, it's online.
In general, I'd say that there's sort of three categories of changes, all really in the spirit of trying to bring the bylaws into conformity with what feels practical for the moment. So I'll highlight some of the changes regarding CTAC. We've updated the vote allocation for CTAC members to mirror the vote allocation for policy board members. So what that effectively will mean is that some of the citizen members who you have appointed to serve will be invited as alternates, will be invited to carry a vote rather than representing an alternate seat. So following the bylaws approval, if that should happen today, we'll be communicating with those CTAC members that they can be promoted, if you will, to be a vote carrying member in some instances. In other instances where a locality may not have appointed an alternate or that seat isn't there, we can notify that particular CTAC member that the number of votes that they carry has been modified to conform. It doesn't really, I think, in effect, change anything, but it does just bring that kind of parity to the governance between the two, between the committee and the policy board. The other change that I think is important to note, and it's relevant today, is just really to bring better guidance for consistency's sake to, in the event that we don't have clarity in the moment regarding allocation of alternates authority to vote, we can delegate that alternate authority to the sitting executive committee member if they are in the meeting and present. Some of you have provided very explicit instructions of what to do when, and it's very straightforward. In other instances, it's a little bit more complicated just because of the number of votes that you have and what combination of voting representatives might be able to attend. And this is a morning meeting, we know things happen, and so we're trying to achieve, I'll say maximum flexibility, but also particularly, I think in days like today, just to be able to ensure that we have some kind of a guide to follow from a governance perspective of how to ensure that we're operating with a quorum and meeting the requirements of code and FOIA with all of the different ways that people are allowed to participate in meetings now. The third is really from an administrative perspective. We talked a little bit about just being able to provide adequate notice to board members of agenda items and also be able to provide staff appropriate turnaround for meeting materials and to be able to, as much as we can, be as responsive as possible to changes that inevitably happen as the packet production moves forward. And so the current bylaws have a notice period of 10 days to publish the packet, and we've backed that down to 8 days. And talking in consultation with your locality staff, it felt like that was still an appropriate amount of time that staff members could have to review and give comment and recommendations to policy board members on action items. But it does give us a little bit more time, just in the way that the dates fall for the meeting production scheduled, to be able to get a more complete packet. So the hope is that we'll have fewer slip sheets in that 2-day savings, but also still have time for adequate review of content. If the board does take action to approve the amendments as have been submitted today, from a next steps perspective, we'll put those changes into effect, repost and circulate the revised bylaws. As I mentioned, we'll work with the CTAC members to make the notifications of those changes. They've been aware of these changes all along and are aware that this is coming through. They were part of the bylaws review process before it came to your agenda. And we will also then work to review and revise the non-binding guidance documents that exist. I guess another thing that I failed to mention is that one of the bylaws amendments is to remove Plan RVA from having a voting seat on the TAC. And so there's just follow-up administrative cleanup that needs to happen with those non-binding voting documents to be able to reflect the changes in the bylaws. So those documents will then come at your, subsequent meetings to be able to ensure that the thread is pulled all the way through for all of the governance documents that we have.
Thank you, Ms. Schickel, for the quick review of the bylaw changes. Appreciate it. This is the second meeting, so we did go over these in February, so everyone has had a chance to review them. Are there any questions from the policy board on the agenda, on the changes? The bylaws?
Just to confirm, nothing has changed since February.
No, sir.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I believe Mr. Carroll identified one error in the text, but the board agreed when they voted in February that that change would be a part of that vote, and nothing has changed since then. Yes.
Okay, seeing none, is there a motion to approve second reading of the changes to the bylaws?
So moved.
So moved by Ms. Schneider,
Second.
second by Ms. Barnhart, all in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, the ayes have it. And we can just do a voice vote on that, right?
That will suffice.
That was what we said. Okay, very good. Thank you, everyone, for reviewing that and getting the bylaws. Those will be updated and posted online soon after. Okay, thank you very much. You want to go over the unified work plan?
Yes, so before I get started in that item, I just want to note sort of more globally, this week represents kind of a big day for a big period of time for us from an accomplishment perspective. Our unified planning work program this year endeavored to undertake activities that Miles tells me are really only scheduled to happen once every 60 years. So 60. We had an aggressive work program insofar as meeting some of our compliance standards relative to the timing of the renew and update of the long-range transportation plan, which you all are very familiar is well underway and scheduled to come to you for consideration later this fall. But today's action to approve the TEIP is another major deliverable in this year's work program, and on a frequency cycle that doesn't always align in the same way that it has this year. And then on top of that, our quadrennial federal certification review. So all of those things happening, LRTP is every 5 years, the TIP is every 3, and the certification review is every 4. So you can imagine, I don't know how Miles did that mathematical computation, but he identified that. And then today also with the smart scale only happens every 2 years, and CVTA funding only happens every 2 years. All of those things happened this year. So it's been a big year. In addition to that, which is partially why we're bringing you this work program amendment later than we typically would schedule, because there were just a lot of moving parts in reconciling our figures and tracking the deliverables this year to ensure that we were heading into the close of the fiscal year on time, on budget with all of our deliverables. So I just wanted to give you that little bit of context before heading into summarizing the memo. I think it does a good job of identifying the key changes. There's a table that shows the pluses and minuses of the change column for each of the affected activities and where you're seeing no change. In the memo itself, we talk about just being able to evaluate the progress of the various work program priorities. So there in the table, you'll see the first change is for work code 7210 for outreach and engagement. We're making a transfer effectively from that work code to the housing and economy work code, largely driven by just being able to bring to closure our application to USEDA for the economic development district designation process. Once the Planning Commission Board, the PDC Commission Board approved the Comprehensive Economic Development Strategy earlier this fall, we've now moved into the phase of producing that application and submitting it. And so we want to make sure that we get that done in this fiscal year. So that $12,000 transfer will make sure that already established deliverable, so to speak, will occur on time. On the next page, you'll see in the table, the next change is a reconciliation on work code 7320 for transit and passenger rail. It's a little bit of a companion to the line below that. So the net of those two represents the adjustment for the 5303 carryover funds. Our carryover funds are awarded annually from DRPT under that 5303 federal code section. And every year following the close of the fiscal year, we do a reconciliation of that balance transfer. So the figure that was previously approved in the work program was an estimate that we calculated, I don't know, this time last fiscal year. And so as we moved through the closure of the books, worked with DRPT to do the reconciliation, that balance, that projected revenue balance was actually a reduction of that $51,000 or so dollars. And so that is represented in those two line items there. We don't have those types of reconciliations for the PL funding, the funding that flows through VDOT, simply because they don't naturally carry over to the next fiscal year. They carry over skipping a fiscal year. So that's why you don't typically see a carryover reconciliation for PL, because it's calculated into the new revenue figure and has already been validated and reconciled. So just this is a normal thing that we do every year with the 5303 carryovers. Finally, that last row is an additional work task item. So this is a new item described on the page before for 7440. And this is the projected revenue balance that we anticipate expending or earning, however you want to think about that, with regard to the new there's a fourth P. I'm sorry, I'm blanking.
Prioritization process pilot program.
Thank you. We call it P-Quad internally so that we don't have to think through what all of the Ps stand for. But you'll recall that this is the new federally awarded grant that Mr. Rucker shared news of a couple times more recently in meetings. It's a $1.5 million grant award to be expended over the course of 3 fiscal years. But this is the projected amount that we anticipate expending this fiscal year for the first phase of that work. And so while it's not required, it was recommended that we include this in the Unified Planning Work Program for transparency and just kind of clarity of how the work fits together. So overall, the budget does increase by $528,000. I'll note that the lion's share of that obviously is in that last bottom line item, and that is a no match required grant. So the obligation to the local governments for this net increase in the budget is a zero obligation for you as member jurisdictions or for the commission. I'll answer any questions if there are any, but that's hopefully a useful summary of what we're doing here.
Thank you, Ms. Schicklin. You think we would see that 580 in then each of the next 3 years?
It's gonna be a little bit variable. I think the next fiscal year, we're gonna have a larger proportion, if you will, since that full 12-month cycle of work will be happening that time. We really haven't gotten started in earnest with this project until much later in the fiscal year, given the contract negotiations and just getting everything kicked off and started. And there will be consultant costs that are part of that next 12 months cycle that I think it'll be more than the 580.
Any questions for the policy board for Ms. Schickel? Seeing none, thank you, Ms. Schickel, for that. I do need a motion to approve the amendment to the Unified Work Program of $528,000. So moved by Mr. Breton. Second by Barnhart. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Ayes have it. Thank you. Okay, thank you, Ms. Schickel, for that. I think at this point, we'll go into our committee and partner agency reports. And if you're not here, is anyone from the CTAC? Seeing none.
I just want to, we'll recognize Mr. Moore is here. I don't know if you want to share anything.
I'm sorry, sir.
Glad to be here.
And I'm sorry, introduce yourself, please.
Ernest Moore from the CTAC committee, as well as the Department of Transportation and RVA.
Excellent. Welcome, Mr. Moore. Any updates from either one?
Well, the Department of Transportation is newly formed, appointed by Mayor Bula, and And that's an update that has just happened in the last 30 days, and we are glad to be a part as the department. When I originally joined CTAC, we were the Office of Equitable Transit and Mobility. So now we are the Department of Transportation. So that's out. That should be noted.
Excellent. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you for coming today.
You're welcome.
And Chair Rogan, if I can, I just wanted to say publicly thank you to members of the CTAC. We had several members participate in both a special session of our federal certification review session last week during a dedicated session at noon with CTAC members, and a great discussion and dialogue with many of those members, including Mr. Moore and our chair, Mr. Dixon. And then we also had several members attend our public meeting later that evening, both in person and virtually. And so just really wanted to thank everybody for their participation in that. It was an above and beyond situation, and we really appreciate it. And many are also attending our symposium next Friday. So we're really grateful to the work that they do.
Excellent. Thank you. The CTAC committee is obviously is an integral and important part of this, and we thank the CTAC committee for all the work making our lives easier on the policy board. So thank you all. Mr. Rucker, Federal Highway, how are you today?
I'm doing wonderful, thank you. Hope everyone's wonderful as well. Let's see, I was going to speak to the certification review.
Yeah.
As I mentioned in the last meeting, the intent was to certify this organization that has happened. Typically when we do certification reviews, we alternate back and forth. This go around, the lead was FTA, we were co-lead. I'm not sure if FTA is on the line. If Dan is on the line, please speak up. If not, then I'll just say a few words. All right. Well, congratulations on being certified. I will say that, let me just say this, the Federal Highway Administration, to speak for Federal Highway, where we are located, our office is located on 8th Street. But the important thing to remember is that while we are federal workers, we are also members of your community. Live in the city of Richmond, live in Henrico County, live in Hanover, we live in Chesterfield County. And I can say that walking out of that certification with the certification review, employees of the Federal Highway Administration felt extremely proud of the work quality coming out of this organization that is being produced by your staff. So congratulations on that. Keep up the good work. I see Mr. Carroll's on the line. When we conduct part of the Petersburg certification review, we certainly enjoyed the conversations with Mr. Carroll from Chesterfield County. Mr. Moore was present, part of the our public meeting. And spoke very proudly of the work that's coming from staff from this organization, as well as several other members of the public and organizations that also attended. Again, you know, just we live in this community, so we're excited to hear good news. We appreciate Mr. Moore sharing with us during the public meeting that the city of Richmond has established a transportation department. That is exciting news. So again, you know, I just keep my comments short. Again, outstanding work, great job. Just keep up the good work.
Thank you, Mr. Rucker. And for those of you that did not get a copy, there are a few floating around of the certification letter. I'm sure it's online in your packet, but there are letters here, and I'll just follow one of his comments. You know, the regional bodies of the elected officials that are here, we work very well together, but also in the memo, and I just want to read a little portion of it, but being compliant with the federal, but they also thank the TPO, Plan RVA, VDOT, Department of Rail, Greater GRTC, the Tri-Cities Planning Organization, Creative Planning, Petersburg, et cetera. And it's important. It is really, truly, it's really nice to work with everyone on the table. And as he said, even though he's a federal employee, he lives in our counties, he lives in our localities. They have people that live around, and we work very well together. And I'm proud of the organization, and I'm happy that we got the certification rather quickly. So thank you, Mr. Rucker, on that. Any other questions for Mr. Rucker, Policy Board?
Mr. Chair, I
Yes,
will
sir.
add, I think in that correspondence, I believe FTA may be briefing the board next month. At next month's meeting. Okay.
I think it is. Yes, that's exactly correct. They are. So thank you. Okay, seeing none, thank you, Mr. Rucker. Mr. Totten from VDOT, last time we spoke, we thanked you very much for the snow plowing, and now we would like to thank you for the pothole filling. So,
Thank you.
Mr. Totten.
Yeah, that's a great segue, Mr. Chair.
Go ahead, Mr. Todd.
So today's March the 5th. The sun is shining, it's not raining, it's not snowing. As is the case when we have a challenging winter, we've had a really a serious case of frost heave and pothole-itis, as one of my folks say. So we are routinely repairing pavements right now, but right now our focus is moving towards landing softly on our financial side of the house. We have an obligation to end the fiscal year under budget. So we are now in the place on our maintenance side of the house to work towards landing softly and looking at what we absolutely have to do versus what we would like to do. So we're in that place of belt tightening for the next few months to land softly at the end of the year. Certainly I'm going to encourage as spring unfolds, if there are potholes, 1-800-367-ROAD is a very available 24-hour service through our customer service center in Salem, excuse me. Certainly you can reach out to our residency offices. All of you know who those respective folks are if their service is needed for pavements in particular. A couple of items just on the funding and programming activities. We are in the latter stages of the TAP and revenue sharing, transportation alternatives and revenue sharing programs with updates to the 6-year plan expected in the spring of this year in the May-June neighborhood. Thank you for all your work at the county level, dealing at locality level to process those applications. They are in the final stages of going through that. You should expect a revenue sharing discussion on the CTB agenda in March. As mentioned last month, our Smart Scale pre-application round 7 is now open. That opened up on March the 2nd. April 1st is the deadline for pre-applications, with a June 1st deadline of full applications will be open June 1st, not a deadline. Just a couple other items of note. We do have a training session scheduled for March the 12th for on our project management milestone series. Many of your employees will be attending that. That's in our Richmond district. That's part of our local assistance efforts outreach for those localities that manage projects. So hopefully that's on everybody's radar screen. I'll just close by saying thanks for the partnership. Both, last week we had a pretty momentous day with CBTA. Good work here today, and look forward to things moving forward with Smart Scale Round 7 and a good spring weather and landing the fiscal year softly. So certainly take any questions, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Totten. There are some media present, can you repeat the phone number just in case that wants to get out there?
1-800-367-ROAD or 1-800-4-FOR-ROAD.
Excellent. Thank you, sir. Mr. Breton.
Actually, on that subject, can we clarify, I guess, which types of roads are appropriate to use that number for and which ones aren't? Is there a
Sure.
distinction?
So that's any road that is VDOT managed, and that's within our 14 counties within the Richmond district. That is essentially every road with the exception of Henrico, or Henrico maintains their secondary system by virtue of their choice many, many years ago. You would have to make contact there. If you're within the city of Richmond, certainly you would use 311 to notify the city. The only roadways we manage within the city are the interstate system. So if it's interstates within the city, you can certainly use that number and report the pothole or what you may see as needed. So hopefully that helps clarify that a little bit.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Lau.
Mr. Tuckman, our resident engineer, Mr. Frazier, presented to our board meeting on Tuesday, and he also shared that there is a map that shows conditions of roads. And I'm a boomer and I did not memorize the website. If you were able to maybe direct folks as to how they might actually see the road conditions and such online.
There is, it serves two purposes. There's a road conditions map, which will report the most recent condition rating for your roadway. Then the second thing that public facing website does is that speaks to roads that are planned to be resurfaced this season. And it changes color once it's scheduled and then once the roadway is paved. So if, it is actually out on our website, and of course you would ask me that, and I don't remember the, I'll see if I can get that link to Martha and we can get that distributed out. But yes, that is publicly available. It's been that way for probably a half dozen or 8 years where that information's been available. Certainly we can share that with the board. If we move to March, we can certainly come back here and present, but on that if need be. But that's information we use to establish how we prioritize our paving, surfacing work. It's connected to our Commonwealth Transportation Board, resurfacing targets, pavement condition targets that we have. But that is a resource. Once folks find it, they tend to use it, particularly if the road is to be resurfaced. So I'll be glad to share that out.
And Mr. Frazier also mentioned the pothole reporting, that there's a hotline of pothole. Is that the?
Yes, that's the
367 road.
So.
Okay,
just
thank you.
as a matter of reference, so each week our residencies in our interstate maintenance office, as part of their weekly report to me, they actually provide a physical count of how many potholes they repair every week. If you can, so it's typically on the order of I don't know whether this is a good number or bad number, but it's typically in the across the 14 counties, probably over 1,000 every week. Again, I don't know if that's a good number of potholes. One of those things, are we happy we have 1,000 potholes, or are we not happy? So anyway, it gives us a frame of reference for pavement condition. So
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Yeah, Mr. Todd. Any other questions? Yes, sir, Mr. Helmgate.
Is it a list of like all the reports? Like, could you give like by locality, like all the potholes that have been reported, and then those that are fixed, and then how many are in?
sure. So normally we would ask our resident engineers to provide that to each locality or county as they've requested. So certainly we can get that out there. We don't normally compile a county-wide or a comparative report, but certainly we can provide that. If this body would like something like that, we can do that for sure. But most importantly, we would ask if that's important to a locality to work with the resident engineer and have them provide that or report that. That way it's a little more tailored to each locality's needs.
I know I've asked for Chesterfield, and I know CDOT is small. I know that they're working and defer a lot to you all, but it would be good just to kind of see what the progress is, and you know, how many are in the balance. I thought also just some positive feedback. I thought that the snowplow tracker was really good, because we were getting a lot of questions about, and I think this was like, for me, you know, I think it was the first time that like I had gotten hit with a lot of questions about when they're gonna plow my street, and
Sure.
for me to say, hey, you know, VDOT handles that, here's a tracker for it.
Yeah.
So, you know, it'd be nice to say, hey, you know, they are making progress on it, and here's evidence of the progress. And it'll just, you know, help maybe take some pressure.
Sure. And that applies for Virginia. We've had that for about 5 or 6 years, and that's been a publicly facing site that we turn on when we reach a certain level of response. So what we would call a level 3 response, which means we're fully engaged in a response, and we turn that on. And if you haven't ever been, it allows somebody to look and they can see all the trucks that are driving all over the state, and there's thousands of them. And it does allow for a citizen to track progress. Typically we you know, they'll be able to see when a truck has been in their neighborhood or down their street. It's not quite where Henrico County has a neat program this year where they are actually providing camera footage. We haven't gotten to that point yet, but so it's just a place that folks can check in. It also provides an opportunity to, if a citizen has a question, they can call that 1-800 number. They can get some input from that, and that it's sort of a dual face thing. But
yeah, I like to see the progress for Chesterfield, because I know that that's coming. I'm already getting some emails about it. So I like to see what that progress is and be able to tell the good news story if that's want to tell. So, which I think it will be.
Sure.
I just want to.
I will have our resident engineer reach out to you.
Okay. Thank you.
I have a question. Is there a reimbursement program from VDOT for vehicle damage as it relates to?
Sure, there is a tort claim process that's also routed through our 1-800-367 road. That's where a citizen could call there if they had a tort claim. There's typically what it does, it ends up going to our residency or interstate maintenance office for assessment. Typically, that is a process, is not a guarantee, but certainly that goes for any kind of damage they may experience on the roadway. That claims process is there. So they can simply call and say, I need to file a tort claim or a claim for damage to a vehicle. Thank you. Wow, maintenance stuff today.
Thank you, Mr. Todd, and continue the great work that VDOT does. Appreciate that. Mr. Hudson on the rails.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Couple quick updates. First off, the FY 27 MPO 5303 application portal is open on our website. Applications are scheduled to close May 1st. Related to that, we are still working with FTA and waiting for them to release the apportionment tables for the section 5303 funding before we're able to run that through our distribution formula and get that information out to the MPOs. Secondly, our statewide rail plan is kind of transitioning from planning into kickoff mode. My rail team has informed me that they're on track to release a survey sometime towards the end of this month. They have developed a pretty extensive list of stakeholders based on people that have engaged in the past rail planning processes. So stay tuned. I believe that's going out to the MPOs and localities and other people that have interest in rail and in the rail planning process here shortly. And lastly, we are wrapping up our grant review season. This is our grants for merit, capital and operating, our TRIP program, which funds things like fare free, passenger amenities, public safety, our special grants, which fund things related to research and development, planning, intern and technical workforce support. We are on target to produce our 6-year plan in coordination with VDOT, and just wanted to thank GRTC, Ride Finders, and the other agencies that have been involved in this process. We've been doing a lot of outreach, a lot of coordination to make sure we have the right information and accurate information as we continue to process those applications and review and do our scoring processes. But it's a big lift this time of year from our transit agencies to get all of that information collated and kind of accurately represented. So I just wanted to thank everybody for being participants in that process. And that concludes my updates today.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Are there any questions, Department of Rail? Excellent. Thank you very much for the updates.
Just,
Look for, go ahead.
sorry, I just note, the new director Zimmerman will be on the agenda for the upcoming.
For the
meeting.
April meeting, right? Yeah.
Thanks for getting that set up.
Thank you.
Is that a hand?
Oh, it's just.
Oh, that's the mouse,
Oh,
Mr. Lau. No hand. I don't think anybody's on there, right, for the question. Okay. Ms. Torres, GRTC, how are you this morning?
Yeah, how are you doing? Good morning, everyone. As a follow-up to Mr. Hudson, I want to thank them for all the support because we have put applications in, I think, to hit every single category. And I think, I guess, regionally, GRTC, I heard, was the only one in the state that did a major expansion project. So that was the western extension. And to kind of add to that, in terms of a major application, just to highlight all of the CBTA transit awards that just happened. I'm very excited to 10 million to go towards the transfer hub station downtown, and GRTC was able to submit, we requested 25 million for the build grant to match that, and we'll find out about that this summer. In addition, 15 million for the western extension of the BRT, so that we are a lot closer to that project actually being funded. And then the last one with the north-south is 2 million related to Belt Boulevard and some improvements over there. So very, very exciting and big for transit. So just want to continue to thank the region and the state. Really is huge to see GRTC and transit's region continue to move forward. With that, you mentioned zero fare. We have received that that grant in the past, related to the trip and zero fare, and now we are on kind of the community support. That's kind of the request of that grant. You eventually have to lean on the community. So GRTC, and Ride Finders together are, working on a series related to, what is our transit access partnership. And we have an event on March 11th with Chipotle at Springline. So everyone please come between 4 and 8 PM in Chesterfield. I think it's 25% of donations at that time will go towards zero fare access in the region. And then March 27th, very soon, but still in the planning phases, downstairs at between 4 and 8 PM. Proceeds you guys can, people can donate towards also zero fare, and we're trying to put a small program around that as well, because that happens to coincide with 6 years of zero fare for this region. So we want to be able to celebrate in some way. So more things to come. So we'll keep you guys engaged and make sure Plan RVA gets all the information so they can also push it as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Torres. What was the date of the Chesterfield 4
The
days?
Chipotle one is March 11th.
March 11th, okay.
So that's between 4 and 8 PM, and then 27th for the bench stop.
Thank you. Any questions from from anyone on GRTC? Okay, seeing none. Thank you, Ms. Torres. Appreciate that. Ms. Dean from RMTA, how are you today?
Well,
Thank you.
good morning.
Good morning.
I think in the last however many months I have been saying to you that our roadway was going to shift to all electronic tolling. And I am proud to say that our modernization project went live this past weekend. I think, you know, as we talk about safety in the region, I just want to say first that we had an incredibly safe operation. We did not have any incidents, which was really important to us, especially since you're out working on the roadway at night. We have seen a very smooth travel, efficient travel for our customers thus far, and we anticipate that that will continue. We are consistently reviewing and riding the roadway to ensure improvements. We have some aesthetics that we are still working on. I think I showed once a picture of the gantry that will have some brick cladding on the side and a logo on the top. Of those I'm told the wood cladding is on a boat due to tariffs and all things going on in this world. And so I'll look to see in the next couple of months some additional changes on the roadway with regard to aesthetics. This project puts us in line with the industry throughout the world. And so I'm really pleased that it's moving forward. We'll also, I was talking with Mr. Totna earlier. You'll see that the toll plazas are still standing, but we do have plans in the near future for demolition. So we're very excited for this project to go live and look forward to what the future holds.
Excellent. Thank you, Ms. Dean. Ms. Dean, I have a question. Roughly, maybe you don't know the answer, but the percentage of people that go through there that have Easy Pass is?
Yeah, our Easy Pass utilization rate ranges from 77% to 79%, depending on the time of day.
So almost 80% of the folks that go through already have an Easy, and that's past data, and we're promoting that they get Easy Pass if folks can. Okay, excellent. And soon we'll see some of the structures come down, as you said, in the near future, so.
Yes.
Excellent. Any other questions from the board? Anyone? Okay, great. Thank you for the update.
Thank you.
Mr. Parsons, CVTA.
Good morning. I just wanted to provide a brief update and a tie-in to the smart scale discussion today. Ms. Torres mentioned it, but as of last Friday, the CVTA awarded its 4th round of regional funding in the amount of $147.9 million to very worthy projects all around the region, some of which were related to, you know, expansion of our transit services as well as bicycle, pedestrian, highway, bridge, et cetera, et cetera. As of to note today, I think by my math, Miles, there are 3 of the smart scale applications that the TPO is sponsoring that have CVTA leveraging on them. And there are many, many additional projects that are going to be local CVTA application or smart scale applications that have CVTA leveraging. So just a good illustration, quick illustration of the partnership that we have with the TPO and the region. And it's a success story after round 6 of smart scale, and I think it's something that we should all be proud of. So I know that Reverend Nelson and Mr. Carroll are the officers for the CVTA right now, and they deserve a lot of the credit for guiding that organization through this time.
Thank you, Mr. Parsons. Just to reiterate, thank you to Reverend Nelson and to Mr. Carroll for leading those organizations. But some of that funding does go to pedestrian bridges. Some of that money goes towards GRTC. That's what you said, correct? Yeah,
Yes.
Thank you very much. Any questions from the group? Once for CVTA? Okay, thank you, Mr. Parsons. Appreciate you. Ms. Schickel, Plan RVA?
Thanks. I don't have $140 million announcement, but I think.
147.
Excuse me.
Point nine.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr.
But I think if we could see Mr. Carroll's face, this might also make him smile. I want to make an announcement so that everybody has ample notice to prepare. We're going to be transitioning from using the Zoom platform for meetings to Teams. So again, I know it's not much of a follow to Chet's announcement. But it does, and it's not much of a follow to Joy's announcement either, but it does represent our version of some technology modernization. Thanks to Sid, he's been doing a lot of research over the last couple of months to be able to make this possible. So when you see your agenda package for the April 23rd, again, note meeting change on that as well. That packet will include instructions. It'll look very similar to what you see in your hard copy packet today. It'll say Teams meeting link as opposed to Zoom webinar link. I think functionally it's going to feel very similar. You're going to be routed to a page where you'll enter your name and email address and you'll get registered for the event. We'll do some walkthrough with anybody who needs to prepare for that for participation in the meetings. This is across the board for all of the Plan RVA supported meetings. So whether you sit on the TPO, the commission, the CVTA as well, any of the support organizations for those are all going to be making this migration over the next 30-ish days. So I just wanted to be able to give that verbal announcement to you. I think we've done a lot of testing and we were able to do a trial run with the certification public hearing last week and it was very smooth. We will call attention at almost every meeting to the top right corner. The picture looks a little bit different in the Teams platform than it does Zoom. You'll see what I'm talking about next month, but there is this unfortunate feature in Teams right now. I'm sure they're gonna fix it. They always do once enough people complain to Microsoft, but in the top right where one might say that they want to leave the Teams meeting, there's this interesting option that gives anybody who's in the meeting the option to end the meeting for everybody. So we want everybody to be just very careful if you have to leave the meeting early, that you'll not end the meeting for everybody else and ruin that fun for anybody. So again, we'll go over this with you. If you have any concerns from an accessibility perspective, it shouldn't change the experience for anybody who participates virtually, either as a member of the body or as a guest. We'll still be able to provide that access and everything will still be the same for the live stream on YouTube. So the experience for the resident or for the interested person in following the meetings really shouldn't change in any significant way. It will help us in a tremendous way to be able to have everything synced into the 365 system and then also be able to help with record keeping. We'll be able to do some kind of the fancier features with transcription and note taking and that kind of thing. So just wanted to update everybody on that. Also, I think we have a couple slots left. If you have residents in your neighborhoods that are interested in attending or you are interested in attending our regional symposium scheduled for next Friday, the 13th. We've got a great play on words and promoting it of how lack of planning is unlucky. So really leaning into the celebration there. It's not on Pi Day this year, so apologies for that, but I think Kristen's made some accommodations and I understand that there will be cake. So I don't know enough about the program to know how the cake is getting incorporated, but there is a a practical reason for the cake as well as just the incentive to come and see what we're serving. The event is at the RTD production facility up in Mechanicsville, so thankful to Hanover for hosting us this year. We're really excited about it. We're gonna be debuting the latest run of our market value analysis in the morning and having a panel talking about how data on housing can inform a lot of different activity across the region. So a little bit of a nice follow-up from last commission meeting discussion about housing and data and where we go from here. And then in the afternoon, we'll pivot to transportation. So there will be an opportunity for attendees to give input to the long-range transportation process. We've got opportunities for folks to participate in the safety survey and to be able to talk through transportation issues that matter most in their community as it relates to housing, really trying to promote that intersectionality between how people experience the community and how those two things are connected. So very excited about that event. And if anybody has any other questions or interest, happy to connect you with our team who are planning that. And then last, maybe housekeeping update. I think we've gotten confirmation that many of the issues that some folks experienced last month with the parking garage have been fixed. My own experience is that it's working a little bit more consistently now. So if you have any issues, just please continue to let us know. We keep routing those to the parking garage management. We're not obviously in charge of the technology, but we can pass along that feedback. So if you have any issues with your fob or anything like that, let us know. And then last thing, just from a housekeeping message, I'll reiterate again, the April policy board meeting has been rescheduled to accommodate for the public schools spring break schedule. So your next meeting is on April 23rd. That's a different meeting date than normal, but we kind of split the difference. So you have no meeting in May, the one meeting at the end of the month in April. It is a packed agenda. So I just want to alert everyone to that. Lots of very important agenda items for your information, but also for your action. So please let us know early so we can understand what attendance will look like if we look like we're running into kind of any issues. And I think that's everything I needed to say.
Thank you, Ms. Schickel. Any questions? Ms. Schickel? Before we wrap up, moving to other business, are there any member comments for the board? Anyone wants to make? Mr. Carroll, I see him smiling.
Thank you, I know.
Online about moving to Zoom, so I'm sure he would love to say something, but he's definitely smiling.
It's really the best
I
thing to
am
start all day.
Ear to ear grinning right now. It's, you know, I don't want to ruin everybody's image of that on a big screen.
Thank you, Mr. Carroll. Lastly, I'll just reiterate a couple things, but thank you to everybody. Thank you for the presenters. Ms. Wagenhauser, thank you for telling us what a tip is and what a STIP is now. We understand that from the statewide perspective. So thank you all. Again, working great with everyone as far as a regional body has been very, very enjoyable. With that, just a follow-up reminder, I think Mr. Rucker is presenting in our next meeting. I think Rail is also having a presentation. If you're not going to be here, please let us know. As you know, the bylaws allow for the vote, but we do need to make sure we have a quorum on April the 23rd. So with that, we will close the meeting. Thank you.